Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the recording studio for another Sip and Talk. I just have to ask, do you smell that?
I do, actually.
There is this faint, highly anxious, like slightly desperate tech nerd scent hovering in the air today.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that highly specific aroma is drifting straight over from our producer Mickey's desk.
It totally is.
I mean, based on the data in front of me, Mickey has probably refreshed his YouTube studio dashboard more times in the last 48 hours than he has actually blinked.
Mickey, seriously, you have to let go of the refresh button. I know it hurts. We have all been there.
It's a brutal feeling.
It really is.
Yeah.
I know the sheer pain of spending an entire week cutting video, color grading, writing, only to release it into the wild and watch your traffic look like a massive traffic jam on the 405 freeway. It's just, gridlocked.
Yeah.
It makes you want to throw your microphone straight out the window when the algorithm leaves you on read.
Well, let's logically break down what is actually happening there, Mickey.
Okay.
When you chase those short-term algorithmic fluctuations, you are essentially playing a soulless probability game.
Right.
It is exactly like day trading on Wall Street.
Yeah.
You're trying to time a highly volatile market that you do not control, and the only guaranteed return on your emotional investment is a bleeding ulcer.
Exactly. And that is exactly why, Mickey, and for everyone listening right now who feels that exact same creative paralysis,
Yes.
you have to focus on raw, authentic intuition.
Absolutely.
That is your ultimate moat. Nobody can steal your unique perspective. Mm-hmm. It's funny, the social media ecosystem is wild. Sometimes the harder you try to perfectly engineer a viral hit, the more the system ignores you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you turn around and lean into your most authentic, razor-sharp perspective, the traffic suddenly pours in on a random Tuesday night.
And that phenomenon is deeply rooted in structural psychology, which actually brings us to our mission today. We are not here to talk about viral miracles or, overnight hacks.
No, definitely not.
We are here to dissect the underlying laws of social media transmission. We're going to cure that creator gridlock by opening up the black box of the algorithm and looking at the actual human behavior driving the system.
Yes. Today's Sip and Talk topic is how to break the gridlock and reclaim your creative voice. Mickey, grab your notebook because we are getting into it.
So when you hit a wall with your channel, the psychological research points straight to a fundamental identity crisis in how you are operating online.
Like you don't know who you are on the platform.
Basically, yeah. You are usually caught between two polar opposite methods of content creation. On one extreme, you have the cash cow channels.
Wait, but look at the guys making thousands a month just posting like faceless AI stories. It is incredibly hard to tell someone to build an authentic brand when the fast, cheap money of a cash cow is right there for the taking.
Oh, it is incredibly tempting. The allure of just becoming a content factory is massive.
Yeah.
But let's look at the actual mechanics of a cash cow. They are purely efficient, highly systemized, and relentlessly trend-chasing. The system initially loves these channels because their data labels are clean. The algorithm knows exactly what the content is and who to push it to. But here is the fatal flaw. They have zero moat.
Meaning anyone can just copy them.
Exactly. Anyone with an internet connection can replicate them tomorrow. Plus, they face massive policy risks. We see it in the algorithm analysis all the time, where platforms will suddenly update their spam filters, and overnight, an entire network of repetitive AI-generated content is permanently demonetized.
Wow, yeah, because you're totally replaceable. Which brings us to the exact opposite end of the spectrum, the brand channels. And when we say brand, we're talking about building a personal IP, which stands for intellectual property, correct?
Precisely.
You as a human being are the actual asset.
Right. A personal IP is driven by a unique voice, a specific aesthetic, and a completely distinct worldview. Now, the cold start for this type of channel is famously brutal.
Because the algorithm doesn't have a neat little box to put you in yet. You aren't just, the Minecraft channel or the crypto channel. You're a complex human.
Exactly. But once you push through that initial friction and the system finally maps your audience, you build long-term trust. You generate massive returning viewership.
Yep.
You become entirely irreplaceable.
If we translate this into real life, it explains so much of human burnout. Think about your own day-to-day routine. You might be sitting there feeling completely miserable because you are forcing your body to act like a cash cow.
Oh, that's a great point.
You are waking up every day, chasing pure efficiency, chasing money, obsessing over the latest trends, but your soul actually craves to be a brand. You crave genuine connection, a unique identity, and a sense of enduring purpose.
That is a phenomenal way to frame it. You're treating your own life like an automated content farm, which technically works in the short term for survival, but it leads to a completely hollow identity. It is the exact same psychology as going to a networking event and pretending to be a highly agreeable corporate robot just to get people to like you. Sure, you avoid conflict, but you're exhausted from playing a character, and none of those connections are real because they don't actually know you.
So if we are committing to building that personal IP, we run straight into a massive wall, which is creative burnout. Because feeling like you have to invent completely new, groundbreaking ideas every single week to keep an audience engaged is paralyzing. How do you survive that pressure?
Well, the breakthrough comes when you shift your empathy. You have to stop obsessing over the niche and start obsessing over the person.
Give me a real-world example of how that shift actually works, because I think a lot of people listening are trapped in their niche right now. You might be sitting there thinking, I run a cooking channel, therefore I can only talk about recipes.
Let's use an AI coding channel based on some recent data. Most creators think, I am a Python tutorial channel, so I must only output Python code.
Makes sense on the surface.
But if you shift your empathy to the actual human being sitting on the other side of the screen, a whole new world opens up. You realize that programmers sit hunched at desks for 14 hours a day. So an episode focused on neck health and posture for coders could absolutely explode in traffic.
Oh, I love that.
Why does it work? Because it breaks out of the rigid, saturated topic box and directly addresses the human condition of your viewer.
That is such a massive relief.
Yeah.
It completely unpacks the truth that 100% originality is a myth. There is truly nothing new under the sun.
Not at all.
The internet is essentially just ancient human behavioral pattern repeated on a massive digital scale.
It really is. The platforms and the software change every 6 months, but the ancient human hardware consuming it hasn't changed in millennia.
It's just like dating or like trying to be charismatic at a dinner party.
Yeah.
Average conversation is just outputting data. It's saying, here's what I did today, here's my political opinion, here's my dog.
Right. It's all me, me, me.
Exactly. It is entirely focused on your own output. But high-level charisma. Charisma is looking at the other person and asking, you look exhausted. What do you need right now? It is shifting the focus from what you want to say to what they actually need to experience.
And understanding that dynamic completely lowers the shame we feel when we get stuck creatively.
Oh, for sure.
When you find yourself sitting at your computer thinking, why am I struggling to connect with this audience? You have to remember that people in the Edo period in Japan or ancient Romans in the Forum struggled with the exact same relationship bugs.
Wow, yeah.
They struggled with social status, with feeling misunderstood, with finding their tribe. We are all playing the exact same human game.
Okay, so we have developed empathy for the human on the other side of the screen. But there is a ruthless, unfeeling machine sitting between you and them.
Very true.
How do we translate that human empathy into a signal the algorithm actually rewards? Because good content doesn't just magically find an audience on its own.
That is the most painful lesson on the internet. Good content does not automatically equal high traffic. High traffic equals a strong reason to click. This is where we have to decode the 3-layer traffic funnel.
Let's break that down layer by layer.
So layer 1 is impressions. This is the algorithm asking, do I even know who to show this to?
Okay.
If your impressions are flatline 0, your topic is likely too narrow, or the system just hasn't mapped your audience yet.
Which means your thumbnail isn't even making it onto their screen.
Right. Now, layer 2 is clicks. This is the real battlefield. Your thumbnail and your title have to win a psychological war against every other video on that screen.
And just for the uninitiated, when we talk about measuring those clicks, we were talking about CTR, click-through rate, the percentage of people who see your thumbnail and actually decide to tap on it.
Exactly. And finally, layer 3 is retention. This is where the actual quality of your content finally matters, but you cannot win layer 3 if you lose layer 2.
So let's talk about the psychological warfare of layer 2. What actually hooks the human brain? Why does our thumb freeze when we are scrolling at 100 miles an hour?
It comes down to human attention drivers, and the strongest one is conflict and contrast. To understand why this works, you have to look at evolutionary biology.
Okay, science time.
The human brain is wired to conserve energy, so it filters out anything normal. If your environment is completely normal, the brain effectively goes to sleep. It only wakes up when it detects an anomaly, because an anomaly represents either a threat or a massive reward.
So a contrast hook leverages that biology. It would be a thumbnail showing something completely jarring, like a highly serious, buttoned-up CEO doing something completely absurd in a boardroom. It jolts the nervous system awake.
Precisely. Another massive driver is voyeurism.
People live to snoop. We are incredibly nosy creatures.
We really are, but it's fundamentally about the safety of observing risk. That is why vlogs are so enduring as a format.
Oh, that makes sense.
The viewer gets to experience the drama, the exotic travel, the social mistakes, and the emotional highs of another human being without having to take any of the actual financial or physical risks themselves.
You get all the dopamine of an adventure from the safety of your couch.
Exactly. And the third major driver is the implicit hook. In classical storytelling, this is called Chekhov's gun. You plant a mystery or a weird detail early on that creates a certainty gap in the viewer's mind.
Oh, the brain hates an open loop.
It absolutely despises it. We have an evolutionary need to resolve patterns to feel safe. If you introduce a piece of information that doesn't quite fit, the viewer has to stick around to see how it resolves.
Let me synthesize this for a second, because a lot of people in the knowledge and education space get this entirely wrong.
Yeah, they do.
They assume that audiences want to be educated rationally. They think, I have valuable facts, therefore my title should just clearly state those facts. But if I'm doing a travel vlog about Spain, a purely logical title like Barcelona Night Tour is essentially dead on arrival.
It is dead on arrival because it has zero emotional tension. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of cognitive science. Humans are driven by emotion first. Always. Yeah. We feel something instantaneously, and then we use logic to rationalize why we felt it a second later.
So to trigger that certainty gap and use emotion, I wouldn't call it Barcelona Night Tour. I would title it something like, I almost misunderstood the night in Barcelona.
Yes. That instantly triggers an emotional expectation. It implies a secret, a failure, a lesson that the viewer does not know yet. You are promising them an emotional journey, not just a dry list of facts.
But getting that click is just the beginning of the war. The algorithm analysis for the 2026 digital landscape shows that if you use an emotional hook, you had better back it up.
The system is completely ruthless now. We have moved far beyond pure watch time. The algorithms have evolved to measure satisfaction.
How exactly does an algorithm measure satisfaction? I mean, it can't read our minds. How does it know if I actually like the video versus just leaving it playing in the background while I cook dinner?
Well, it measures a holistic web of data. It looks at your session length. Like, did watching this video make you stay on the platform longer and watch 3 more videos?
Right.
It relies heavily on post-viewing surveys, where it randomly asks users to rate the video. It looks at the returning viewer rate. If someone clicks on your Barcelona video because of that great emotional hook, but they leave 30 seconds later because your content was boring, the system flags it.
It essentially says, this title was a trap, and it permanently kills the reach.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the golden 30 seconds. This is why traditional intros are total traffic suicide. If you start your video with 20 seconds of an animated logo, followed by you saying, hey guys, welcome back, before we start, make sure to subscribe, you are dead. You have completely lost them.
You are actively driving them away.
You must deliver on the thumbnail's promise immediately. Hit them with the conflict right out of the gate.
Just to give you a sense of the current landscape realities based on the data, knowledge channels right now usually see a 4 to 9% CTR and a 35 to 50% retention rate.
Yeah.
Vlogs typically see a 2 to 6% CTR because the market is just so saturated.
Quick verbal disclaimer for everyone listening, though. We are not financial or operational advisors. These numbers are just for objective trend analysis, so please, always use your own independent judgment when planning your content strategies.
Absolutely. But those benchmarks show you how tight the margins are. You have to earn every single second of their attention.
And you also have to earn the transition to the next video. This is about creating content loops. One of the absolute worst things you can do as a creator is say, thanks for watching, bye, at the end of a video.
Yeah, it is basically giving the viewer permission to close the app and go do their laundry.
Exactly. You are breaking the spell.
Yeah.
Instead, you need to hook them into the next related concept immediately. You say, if you thought the mistake I made in Barcelona was crazy, wait until you see the absolute chaos of taking the night train to Madrid.
Boom.
Boom. They're already clicking the next video before they have even processed that the first one ended.
That is how you build a bingeable ecosystem. But if you are going to survive in this high-stakes ecosystem long-term without completely losing your mind, You have to establish strict boundaries.
Totally.
And that means setting boundaries for both your audience and yourself.
Let's talk about the audience first, because a lot of creators feel like they're held hostage by what their viewers expect them to make.
Right. The analytical term for this is viewer ossification.
Wait, viewer ossification. Break that down for me. You mean the audience's expectations become completely rigid and, like, calcified?
Precisely. It is the primary reason established channels get stuck. Let's go back to our AI coding channel.
Yeah.
If that creator suddenly decides they are tired of coding and uploads a video covering a major political event, their core fans are going to look at their feed and ignore it.
Yeah, they didn't sign up for that.
Right, and when your own core audience ignores your video, it sends a massive negative signal to the algorithm. The system assumes the content is terrible and it instantly kills the reach.
If we tie this back to real-world human behavior, it is because human beings violently crave personality stability in their relationships.
Yes, we do.
If you have a friend who is always the calm, logical anchor in your life, and suddenly one day you meet them for coffee and they are highly erratic, screaming about conspiracy theories, you naturally back away. Predictability equals safety. Your audience relies on you to be a specific type of anchor in their daily routine.
That is exactly it. Now, you can evolve and change your niche, but you have to build a bridge. You have to slowly introduce new topics alongside the old ones. You cannot just shatter the audience's psychological expectation overnight and expect the algorithm to reward you.
And then there is the boundary with yourself, which is arguably the most critical part of this entire discussion. Mindset management.
Huge.
The sheer power of going into your phone settings and turning off your analytics notifications cannot be overstated. You cannot tie your daily, hour-by-hour emotional state to a single piece of content's performance.
It is, an entirely unsustainable way to live.
You have to treat uploading like brushing your teeth.
Right.
You do it, you make sure it's done right, you apply all the psychological hooks we just talked about, and then you walk away and live your life.
Exactly.
It's a long-term compounding game, just like going to the gym. You do not do one intense workout, look in the mirror, and start crying because you don't instantly have a six-pack. You just trust the process and keep showing up.
And while you are showing up, you also have to respect the ecosystem's boundaries. I always remind people that the digital world has real rules and infrastructure.
Right.
You can be as unique and authentic as you want, but ignoring the rhythm of society or the explicit rules of a platform will get you rejected. If you try to game the system by spamming low-effort content, you will be penalized.
It's like going to a nice dinner party.
Yeah.
You can be the most fascinating, intelligent person in the room, but if you decide to stand on the dining room table, kick over the wine glasses, and scream over everyone else just to get attention, you're still going to get kicked out of the house.
Exactly. Being authentic does not excuse you from understanding the framework and the rules of the room you are operating within.
Well, before we wrap up, I just want to note that today's breakdown of human behavior and platform dynamics was an objective look at the facts. We aren't criticizing any specific group, platform, or demographic. We always want to champion independent thinking here. And Mickey, to you and to everyone watching or listening out there who feels stuck, there really is nothing new under the sun. Algorithms will change next year. The specific metrics will shift. But the fundamental human instinct to connect with an authentic soul, that hasn't changed in 10,000 years, and it won't change in 10,000 more.
When you stop caring if the next view count is 500 or 500,000 and instead focus on whether the video tells a truth you genuinely believe in, you have already won the game. Traffic is just a byproduct. Your unique perspective is your actual asset.
I love that. I really hope today's discussion cured some of this week's traffic anxiety for you. If you are feeling stuck in your channel, or honestly just stuck in your life, leave us a comment or email the show. Your story might just be the exact topic we tackle in our next recording session. And please subscribe to the Sip&Talk podcast and go check out our old friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life. He just dropped some brand new travel vlogs that are absolutely incredible.
Sip&Talk. See you next time.
Bye, guys. Stay authentic and ignore the algorithm. And just something to chew on before we go. What if the algorithm isn't actually a machine to be beaten, but just a digital mirror reflecting our own collective psychology? Just a little food for thought. See you next week.